So I'm going to say straight off the bat, do not buy Forspoken. And there are a few different reasons I'm saying that. Obviously, it's up to you at the end of the day if you want to purchase the game. I'm just putting out warnings based on the stuff that I've seen that are red flags and things that I totally do not agree with. And the reason I put this stuff out before the game releases is because once it's released and you've purchased it, it's too late to look at the warnings. Yes, you might have a 2-hour window on Steam to get a refund, but Steam don't like players getting refunds all the time. I get emails every now and then saying, "You've requested too many refunds lately, chill out or we're going to start denying requests." And I've been in this gaming space on YouTube specifically for around 9 years. So I've seen pretty much everything the industry has to offer, but I've also been gaming for about 26 years now. And there are multiple big, giant red flags within Forspoken, which is the reason I'm saying do not buy it. We'll start off with the PS5 side of things, and there's only one thing for the PS5, but that's the optimisation, which does also carry over to the PC side of things as well. But developers have started doing fidelity mode and performance mode, so graphics and basically frame rate. And while most games will run smoothly 1080p 60 FPS, or maybe 30 FPS 4K, in performance mode, where it's supposed to target 60 FPS but stick at around 1080p, I've seen the biggest average of 900p for the resolution, but I've seen it dip as low as 720p. We're in 2023. The hardware you're playing these games on is costing £400 upwards, and there's no optimization whatsoever for the resolution to dip as low as 720p. But whilst it's at 720p, it's still been seen to drop below 60 FPS. And that is really, really bad, because if you then play on the mode that's designed for graphics, you're probably looking at about 15 frames per second. This game is not optimized whatsoever. Then on the PC side of things, they are targeting 30 FPS for the minimum and the recommended. Recommended is 1440p 30 FPS. The majority, or a big percentage, of Steam players or PC players will play at a resolution of 1080p, but they have targeted 1440p at 30 frames per second. The only time they targeted 60 frames per second is with the Ultra settings, which is also 4K. But for that, there's also a big difference, because you're either going to need a £550 AMD graphics card or a £1,300 NVIDIA RTX card. But that shows you just how there's no optimization. And if I remember correctly, let me just double check this, the recommended is requiring 24 gigabytes of RAM. And not only that, you need 150 gigabytes of storage space available. So if you have a small SSD and you've got a bigger hard drive, no point picking this game up whatsoever, because they recommend an SSD. But the minimum settings are for 720p 30 FPS, and that still requires an i7 processor, the i7-3770, and a GTX 1060 to play in 720p 30 FPS. And while granted there might be a lot of particle effects and magic and things like that, it's not worth it whatsoever, because the base edition of this game is £65. Square Enix are publishing it, they've let Luminous Productions develop it. Luminous Productions have only ever worked on one title before this, but it's £65, and if you want the bigger edition, it's going to cost you £90, and all that comes with is a couple of bits of digital goods or whatever, and it also gives you a future DLC. So you're paying £25 at launch for a DLC that could come in the future, or is set to come in the future or whatever. But not only that, in terms of content creation on the internet, YouTube, Twitch, so on and so forth, you are typically given a review code. If you're going to be given one, you're typically given one a couple of weeks before the launch of the game, so that you have enough time to sit there and play it, complete the entire thing, and get your review out maybe a day or two before the game launches. Well, Forspoken is set to release on the 24th of January. Preloading starts on the 22nd, and from what I've seen, there are no early review codes. In fact, I saw a marketing company or whatever, they were promoting on Twitter, if you want your review codes, apply here, we will be giving them out on launch day. You don't do that in the gaming space. You don't give out review copies of the game to review them on the day they launch. What is the point? Because the content creator will more than likely have enough money to buy the game and get their review out anyway. Review codes are mainly given before the release of the game so the content creators can get word out early, promote the game, praise it, and generate more sales, get more pre-orders for the company and stuff. And then the final big red flag. I spoke about this recently in a Hogwarts Legacy video. It was a big topic back in 2020 with Doom Eternal, but Forspoken is going to be implementing the third-party DRM, the Nouveau anti-tamper. It's something developers use and publishers use to protect their game from cracking so that people can pirate it. So a DRM being digital rights management, denuvo is very intrusive. It's a kernel level driver. It also runs when your game is closed down, so it's always in the background. It's known to strongly affect performance unless the developers have coded it and optimized it properly so that it doesn't do that. It depends how it's all set up, and that's why it's such a red flag, like a much bigger red flag for Forspoken than what it is for Hogwarts Legacy, because it's still concerning for PC players for Hogwarts Legacy because the Nouveau is so intrusive. But for Forspoken, they haven't optimized a single thing across either platform they're releasing this game on, PC, PS5. So with there being no optimization in the game itself, there's more than likely big chance there won't be any optimization whatsoever for the Nouveau. So you are possibly going to have incredible performance drops. And I mean major performance issues because they are running the Nouveau. This game already had a failure of a demo. Players didn't like it. They had to go back and update their demonstration of their final product. They had to update it to fix technical issues. If that doesn't scream, get out before it's too late, I don't know what does. But Forspoken is looking to be one of the biggest messes of this year. I don't think there's going to be anything that's going to really top this. I don't think we're getting any sort of Saints Row this year or anything like that. I am really concerned about the performance of this game across both platforms. And it's got to the point now where I'm almost tempted to not even try it because of the Nouveau, because of the PC performance, like the lack of optimization. I don't know. I'm so skeptical and I'm kind of scared of what it could do to the PC. They're targeting 30 FPS. There's no optimization. It's in such a bad state. Before the games even come out, before preloads are even available, all the information is there to warn players against it because there are so many major problems. This isn't anything minor. 720p for a £65 base edition game in 2023. 720p on performance mode, which targets the frames per second, but it dips below 60, but dropping to 720p, 1080p should be the minimum on the PlayStation hardware, the same as the Xbox Series X. But then targeting 30 FPS for both minimum and recommended for the PC, and just having issues in a demo and everything like that, honestly, sort it out. Square Enix publish a lot of games. The last ones that I recall them releasing, because I don't stick around Square Enix too much. I've said this a few times recently, but if it's not Final Fantasy, they don't really care that much. But the ones that I recall, Marvel's Avengers, we've just recently found out that's closing down. I believe they had a 5 or 10 year plan. Yeah, it's closing down after 3 years. And Outriders, which players couldn't even access the servers for 4 days after launch. And then it had plethora, the biggest plethora of issues. And I mean people's inventories completely wiped that lasted 10 weeks. That's what Square Enix publishes. So there is a small chance Forspoken could be different. But with the Nouveau, with the lack of optimization, with the price tag they've slapped on it as well, with the lack of early review codes for content creators, and no, I'm not saying that because of me and I didn't get offered one or whatever, I never applied for one. I'm saying that because there are a lot of content creators that do their early reviews and they're not giving out the codes early, which is a big red flag. They don't want people talking about the actual full game release until the game is released itself, because they know what's up. They know there's something big in this game that is going to destroy something in a big manner. Whether it's people's PCs, people's PlayStations, whether it's just a really bad experience, something big is fishy with this game. And I'm really on the fence to buy this. I don't know if I'm willing to even try it at this stage. There are only a couple of days left. That's the only time I've got to make my mind up. But I don't know, I'm feeling like steering clear of this one. The only reason I was had any intention of purchasing it was to see what's actually wrong with it and warn you guys against it. But I think I've seen enough before the game's even come out, if I'm completely honest. And yes, before people say, well, why would you even consider buying it if it's going to be that bad? It's my job to cover video games. But yeah, I'm going to stick with what I'm saying. Do not buy Forspoken. I've got a very, very strong feeling that it's going to be a bad one. And I mean really, really bad. But that's going to do it for this video before it turns into a full-on ramble when you're sitting there watching half an hour of nonsense. Check out this video if you want to see other content on the channel. I will see you in the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.